Hi guys, so this is the discussion I had with Connor Rush, the game developer behind Into the Unknown, Welcome to the Dreamscape, Summerland, and The Colossus is coming. So as you can guess, there are some major spoilers of Summerland, Welcome to the Dreamscape. These two games are free, not so long, so you definitely should give it a try before spoiling yourself, but do as you wish. So, hi Connor.
Hello.
Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Connor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, I've been discovering you like last week, if I'm not wrong. It was on Friday. I played your game Summerland, and I
Yeah.
was absolutely shocked. Like, it was really a nice game. I mean,
Thank you.
I played a lot of games, and this one's like top 10 of the one I'm ranking, to be honest. So,
Oh wait, no, seriously?
yeah, seriously, like
That's
the
a
ending really touched me, like for it.
that's a big say. I appreciate that.
Well, that's to be honest. So that's nice.
Man, I made Summerland and had no idea that it was going to it did a lot more than I thought it was going to. I made it for fun. I made it for free. I put it out there for free and just like kind of hope someone would take to it. And I've had multiple people tell me it's like it is one of their favorite games now. And I'm absolutely shocked by that. That because that I don't know. I just never saw it that way.
Oh yeah. So it was your third game, if I'm not wrong.
Third, yeah.
Yeah. So
Not
you
counting the plethora of unreleasable games I have in my back catalog.
okay? So you made a lot of them.
Yeah, I've made a lot. Just it's part of the learning process. You make
Yeah.
really awful games and you learn from it.
Yeah.
There are probably games I have out now that I probably would not release now.
Oh, okay.
um,
Do you have any
I saw
idea
you're
of?
playing Dreamscape.
Yeah. Well, I played every of your games, but I gotta be honest. Like, Into the Unknown, I just couldn't play the game because it was the frame rate was really low and I wasn't able to
Yeah,
play it.
yeah, I made that when I was 13, I think.
Oh wow, okay.
And I was totally just like, all right, I'm gonna put this together and get it out there, and then I'm gonna be a celebrity, which is not the case because it's what it was. But I didn't know. I was like, oh, we're gonna put out a game. That's cool. Um, my quality standards have gone up quite a bit since then.
Yeah, for sure. And I've tried Welcome to the Dreamscape, as you said, and well, it went well. The story was well. I only reached level 4, and I found the story really interesting. And so I played the first 2 chapters on my own, and then I played the third one on Twitch, and I had one person watching me, and we were discussing about this and about other stuff. And well, the game, for some reason, when I press escape on the third level, it freezes, and I just cannot continue the game.
um, I'd have no idea. I've unfortunately for you, I've discontinued support for Dreamscape.
Okay.
It was again everything I do is like a learning process, and um, Into the Unknown and Welcome to the Dreamscape are both just me like figuring out how to make games. And I would say Summerland is my first like actual game that I've released and like marketed and been like, okay, this is the one where I figured it out. Um, and even in Summerland, I feel like I'm not going to be doing any updates for Summerland like
Okay.
anymore. I like moving on. I
Yeah.
want to make what I make, fix a few things here and there when it comes up, and then once it's in a state where it's like easily playable, I'll move on to the next thing.
Okay.
And I'm trying to like stay away from like old projects as much as I can, just because I want to explore more territory.
Okay. So you don't plan to use like all the ideas to create updated games from scratch that you've got earlier?
What do you mean by that? Use what I have
I mean, you've
now.
said that you've been trying different games that were not released because it
Yeah,
wasn't like fully
yeah,
complete. And
yeah.
is there any idea from this games that you would like to share by the future?
I mean, there are a few that I already have. Like Dreamscape had a few different iterations before I settled on making that one. And when I say iterations, I mean like just a game around dreams. I thought would be
Yeah.
interesting. I had one like I was like 11 or 12 I made that was like not good. I had one. Yeah, I've done it like two or three times. I've had a dream based game that I just like was like, okay, interesting concept, but it's not good, and I'll never release this. And
Okay.
Dreamscape was the first time I like sat down and did it. I would call Into the Unknown my first like I wouldn't even call it horror because it's not scary. Into the Unknown is not a scary game, but it is was like my experiment with horror almost. And I'm looking to get more into that in the future. I would love to do more horror content.
Yeah, on the storyline, it was like some horror game, but not on the ambient, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've recently been working more on horror, and I actually have stuff. I'm very excited to announce soon, which I cannot announce now, but
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
I'm definitely trying to go more horror in the next project or two.
All right. So if you want to announce anything, just know that the podcast will not be released before like mid-February or maybe late February. So if you think then you'll be announcing it, you can talk
Got
about
it.
it on the podcast. But
I
as you
don't
wish,
entirely
like
know. There's some third party factors this time around that
yeah,
I'm not
okay,
100% sure about.
no problem. All right.
Yeah, very excited to display any of that. Actually, I have the project project what would you call it? Like the project file
Yeah. Okay.
open right now while I'm
Ah, okay.
talking to you. But yeah, are you into horror games much?
What? What did you say?
Horror games. Are you a fan personally?
I gotta be honest, I'm a bit scared when I play horror games because I don't know why, but my immersion is like super huge when I play any game. And when I play horror games, I'm scared. So I try
I
to avoid them.
I used to be
But
the exact same way. I
yeah,
used to be the exact same way. I to this day, and I know it's not even the scariest game. I don't know why it like hits me so much, but I cannot play Five Nights at Freddy's.
okay.
I cannot. It's like it's too much for me.
Ah, okay. Well, I tried Little Nightmares. Maybe you heard about it.
Oh yeah, no, I love Little Nightmares.
And so I've got scared. And the fun fact is that my little brother that has like that he's 12 years old and he finished the game for me because I wasn't able to. Like for real.
I don't know if I'm at the level of being scared from Little Nightmares, but I do understand where you're coming from. I am a bit jumpy.
Yeah. Yeah, the sound design was like so creepy and
Oh, it's so good.
it was stressful for me. Like for real. It was real pressure.
It's so good.
Yeah.
The aesthetic of Little Nightmares is so impressive, and the art design is like something about it is so unsettling and unnerving. It's very Tim Burton esque,
Yeah. For real.
and I'm a huge fan of Tim Burton's work, and I just thought that was an awesome game. I recently, what I was going somewhere with this. I recently played a horror game, and now I can't think of what it was. Oh geez, Layers of Fear 2, and I
Okay, I haven't
was
heard about it.
enjoying. It's a little walky for me. I say that as a developer of walking simulators, but
Yeah.
there's like not a lot to do. I like a horror game that makes me like actually fear that I might die.
What is like fear that?
What was that?
What was your last sentence?
I like a horror game where there's like a risk involved.
Okay,
I
yeah.
feel like playing Layers of Fear. There's no risk because you can't die, so I'm like not scared of anything.
Okay.
Um, I, I remember PT. PT freaked me out.
What is PT?
Oh, you don't know PT? It's do you have a PlayStation?
Yeah.
So what even year was that? It was like early 2010s. Um, mid to early 2010s. There was a game called PT that was released just out of nowhere on the PlayStation Store for free.
Okay.
And it was by like an unknown developer. There was no marketing for it. It was released and it was there. And people
Okay.
played it, and it's pretty well regarded as the scariest game ever made.
Okay.
Um, and as people tried beating the whole premise is that you're in this hallway, and every time you exit the hallway, you just loop. So it's a looping hall over and over again.
Okay.
Um, the graphics were amazing, and as people played it, they found like the secrets in it, and there's a bunch of different stuff, and they realized that this game was not by an unknown developer, but it was by Konami, um, because it was a Hideo Kojima project, as they were trying to market the new Silent Hills game that got canceled.
Oh, right.
But they
That's
like
a
they
nice
like hid
touch.
all of that behind like a wall of this is like an unknown thing, no one knows what it's about, and after you beat the game, it says Silent Hill. Um,
Nice.
but
Okay.
but since then the project's been removed from the store
Oh.
and the Silent Hill was canceled, and which sucks because I people loved PT. Now no one can play it ever again.
Ah, yeah.
It's irritating.
Yeah. Okay.
The Konami did like a whole bait and switch with Kojima, which is a little awful. It was like they had some creative differences, so they started like removing his name from stuff, and then they pulled Silent Hills from the stores, and it's upsetting.
Yeah.
Hideo Kojima is like an excellent director.
What kind of game did he made except from this?
Metal Gear,
Okay, never played any of them.
Metal Gear Solid. He's like the main brain behind all those games, and then he branched off and made Death Stranding
Yeah, yeah, okay, I've heard
after
about
that.
this one. Yeah.
Yeah, um, far different than Silent Hill, but I would have loved to see where he went with it because PT was terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
Okay. And so for Welcome to the Dreamscape, if I'm not wrong, the story was about as you say dream, but so I didn't get the whole story, but if I'm not wrong, it was something that had someone that had some fears, and they were trying to beat their fear through playing virtual games.
A bit. So the main premise is that you play as this unnamed protagonist who
Yeah,
comes into this therapy clinic
yeah,
and is like, I don't remember what happened to me. There's some traumatic event that is like keeping me awake at night, but I don't know what it is because my brain has like blocked it from. It was just so that bad. So you go to this clinic. You're like, if I can remember what this is, maybe I can cope. So you go through your dreams, which are presented in simulation style,
yeah,
so that through these computer simulations, you're able to be totally aware and active inside of your dreams to try to find meaning. And that means the therapy office can monitor you and understand exactly what you're seeing and interpret it for you. And it's basically all that. And then there's like a bunch of like twists with the organization, and there's a third party hacking
yeah.
firm that gets into play, and it's a whole shebang of misunderstanding and I don't even want to explain it. But yeah. In theory, it's about trying to recover memories from dream, the subconscious.
Okay. Yeah, something you said, and it's interesting, but the protagonist doesn't have a name. Does it last until the end?
At the end, it is revealed, and it kind of
Okay.
links back to Into the Unknown.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
so they are actually like a connected thing.
Okay.
And I had planned at the time to like make most of my games part of this like linked universe, and I've disbanded that because I realize it's so limiting, and
Okay.
and I'd rather just not like I don't want Dreamscape and Into the Unknown to be part of my current development, because my quality of writing and quality of everything has just gone far beyond that point. Um, and I'd like to just leave it where it is to sit as my early work.
Yeah. Okay.
And not have to like think about it.
All right.
Not to say I'm upset I made them. I'm very happy I made them, and I'm very happy that people played them. But I'd like to leave those behind and continue on to something else.
All right. Well, I'm sad I wasn't able to get through the end of Dreamscape because I've looked a bit on YouTube and I didn't find any video going further than the level 2. And when I looked at the comments on Steam, on the Steam page, um, a few people had the same problem as me, because well, the freeze when you press escape on
Yeah.
level 3, and then I reached level 4. For some reason I closed the game during the live, and then I just launched the game again, and I was back to level 1, like if I've never played the game.
Well, I should apologize for not making a game that worked better.
Well, well, I'm
um,
sad. I'm just sad because the story was looking good and I was really interested in it. I cannot play. I cannot see any video of it on YouTube, and
there
I
was other videos.
okay, but
I
I
I
didn't
remember
find
there
them.
being full gameplays. I'm like trying to find the one now.
All right,
Yes, this one dude did a series on it
okay,
with a few episodes.
yeah, or
I
maybe
can
there
send you
was
links to that if you're
like
interested.
channels that had thousands of videos, and I wasn't able like to seek within all the videos to find it. But on the YouTube search engine, it didn't work well.
Here, I'm sending you a video. It's part one to a
Yeah.
series that someone finished it.
Okay.
So that should work. If not, then I apologize.
All right.
It is not the most invigorating story, I will say. I've written much better. It's proof in Summerland.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Summerland is a far cry in quality from Dreamscape.
Yeah. Okay. And so, are you passionate about psychology because it was part of the base of the story of Dreamscape and also of Summerland?
Yeah, no, it's definitely something I find interesting, mostly because I like my stories to be a bit internal, a bit intimate, and I like to kind of create this meta narrative with the player
Yeah.
where they can sort of like see themselves in the game,
Yeah.
and I think the best way to do that is through like the mind, into because that's like I think the true connector of everyone, right, is that we all think, and
Yeah.
that we all have the shared experience of emotions and like confusion, and that's the best way I can think to like get in touch with a person, is through like psychology and observing the subconscious and emotions and philosophy and all these things. And I have a very base level understanding, and I'm not going to claim to have more than that, but I think it adds a layer of interest to the stories I write, and I just think it's cool. I just think it's cool that we have this subconscious thought, and that we have this these things that we do that we don't understand why.
Hmm.
And I think writing about it is fun. I think it's interesting.
Yeah. And you made a choice. Maybe that's linked to um, the fact that so anyone can identify themselves in the game. But in Summerland, I don't remember well, but if I'm not wrong, there's no character with a face. Like it's like
No, yeah,
dots of color.
yeah.
Is that like a choice to save time in development, or is it a real choice in matter of the story?
It's a little bit of both, because I felt that one, I wasn't going to be able to make character models. That just wasn't
Okay.
going to happen, because I was when how old was I when I started Summerland? I was like 16 or 17 when I started making Summerland.
Okay.
Um, and I wasn't going to be able to make models, so I found like some stock models, right? And I was like, I can't use these because they look cheap, and everyone's going to make fun of me for using stock models. So I was like, how can I make this creative, and how can I make it interesting, visually interesting? So I was playing through a bunch of different walking simulators, looking for inspiration. I found Everybody's Gone into the Rapture,
Yeah.
um, which, unpopular opinion, I really liked. A lot of people were not a fan of that game, mostly because it's very slow. There's not a lot going on, but I really enjoyed it, and it did something similar with its character models. It had they were very much beings of light, and I was like, this makes sense in the narrative, and this makes sense for me as a developer going forward. And I think it paid off. I think it looks a lot cooler than if I were to just use models. I think it looks a lot more interesting. It gives a lot more mystery to the whole, I guess, universe of Summerland.
Yeah, your feeling is like more blurry because
Yeah,
it's like if you don't see clearly what's happening, and yeah, it's always blurry, and that's cool.
I wanted them to be kind of like they were memories, and
Yeah.
I wanted these people to be portrayed as memories as accurately as I possibly could. And then it allowed me to do stuff with like colors, and different characters could have different colors depending on how Matthew had viewed them in his lifetime. Like there's like friendly, there's neutral, there's like a hatred, and those all show forth, and that kind of goes with that idea of the subconscious and emotion. He's not remembering the accurate details of the person, but he's remembering how that person made them feel, which a lot of times tends to be the case.
Yeah. And how many time did you spend on Summerlin?
So, about a year and a half,
Okay.
I think, making Summerland. And that that's from the like initial idea. I would say is like a year and a half. Then I'd write. I had like a few drafts of the script. There were like different things. There's a story where the kid was sick and not Matthew. But the kid was like a little older, and there was a version where you're like fighting a pharmaceuticals company.
Okay.
Um, a lot of ideas that I did not follow through with. I'm very happy with the script I settled on, and after the script was written, I basically just went through and like speed modeled and programmed everything I possibly could. Had a few technical scares where I thought the project's done, it's deleted forever, and I'm gonna never release it
Oh,
ever. But no, we're good. It released and we're safe. But there were some scares when I was making the game. There was a few moments where I thought I had lost to the game.
that might be terrible. Like
Oh,
when
it's
I do this on
fine.
editings of videos, it's terrible, and it's like it's not comparable. Comparable. Like I don't spend as much time as a game developer, so I just came totally on
Imagine
the same.
working like up to almost a year at that point, and then
Yeah,
just like thinking your project's gone.
yeah,
That stuff happens all the time in game development, though. Computers are finicky things.
yeah, for real. Yeah.
It's terrifying.
And so, what part of the game developing is the best? Is it when you write the story?
I'd say my favorite part is I don't even know if this counts. My favorite part is finishing it
Yeah.
because I love making the game. Don't That's not what I'm trying to say. I absolutely adore making the game, but my favorite feeling is when you finally finish the game and you sit back and you look and you're like, I did that, and you're thinking like this is like something I worked on, and this is something that I wrote and that I produced and that I put together, and now it's done and people can enjoy it.
Okay.
That's a feeling that that's why I make games almost. It's just because I like when I finish them.
Yeah.
I like coming up with the general aesthetics, and I like figuring out the style and knowing what I want to do with it. And then once I put it together, it's um it's like that childlike feeling of like when you're like a little kid and your parents do something like really cool, like take you to an amusement park by surprise. It's like that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I can totally relate. Yeah. And so it's exactly the same for video creation for me. And is it the same when you create some musics? Because I know
Yeah.
you like you've been listening to it like for hours and hours, and maybe you can be tired of hearing it,
Oh,
and
I'm so
so
sick of my songs at this point.
yeah, yeah, okay,
I have no gauge of song quality anymore just because I've listened to them so many times.
yeah,
Yeah, it's the same feeling. My
okay,
favorite part is like assembly, is like getting all of the moving parts together in one, and like the album covers and the aesthetics and like figuring out the narrative. Like that's all. I love that stuff.
okay,
I almost love the graphic design of everything. I love making it look nice and making it like presentable and aesthetically pleasing. Like that stuff's cool to me.
yeah, okay,
Um, and like having that one cohesive vision, like coming out with that final product again, it's amazing.
hmm. And what is the intention there behind making games? Is it well, I've seen that on Summerlin on the ending screen, you're saying that you wanted to make a free game so that anyone can play it. Is there
Yeah.
an intention like spreading ID, questioning about life or something like this?
I don't think that what I'm putting forth in Summerland is anything like groundbreaking. I don't have like a great knowledge of philosophy or psychology or anything of that nature. I'm very base level research. Um, but I do think that everyone at some point should like bring these things into question. Like what do I consider right and wrong? Where are my moral stances? And even like religion, like to say like what does happen? Like where are we all going? And I'm not trying to like convince anyone of anything. I'm just saying like these things are worth questioning, and they're worth finding things that you personally feel are correct in those regards. Um, was that my intent with releasing Summerland? I don't know. I did want to make the player look at their like how they feel about morals and what they consider right and wrong. I did want them to think about that a little bit while playing. But apparently I did I got a few people pretty deep in thought.
Yeah,
You could probably tell from playing it, but when you're asked these questions about your moral stances, you're not the phone guy isn't really asking Matthew, he's asking the player.
mm.
In essence, and everything you answer is from your perspective, not from Matthew's perspective.
Yeah,
And I wanted Matthew's story to include all of these things that you answer about, so that you would be thinking about the things that you answered while watching it, while playing the story. um, and if you're thinking about those things, you'll start thinking why you think Matthew did the right and wrong things, which would steer your answer at the end.
yeah,
um,
yeah, definitely.
and I think I mostly succeeded in getting people to maybe like think about how they view um, these moral stances. But again, it's very base level, and I'm not going to claim to be anything deeper than that. I just thought that putting the thought forth would be interesting.
Yeah, okay. And what were, well, I've told a few friends that I'll be receiving you on the podcast, and I was asking them if they wanted to play the game or listen to your music and ask you any type of question. And one of them had the same question as me, which was, what were your answers to your own questions in Summerlin?
Oh God, what even were the questions in Summerland? It's been over a year since I've touched Summerland.
So,
Uh, do you have the questions like?
well, I don't have them like written, but from memories, the first one was, um, is an action inherently bad or good? Kent ID, and or is it the utilitarianism that counts? And I don't remember which one, which philosopher it
Oh,
was.
I think that um oh man, I I'm not an ethics like expert. I'm not an ethics expert.
Yeah, I just want your opinion.
Oh man, I from more research uh after the release of Summerland, I've learned that the idea of deontologism and utilitarianism are um very outdated,
Okay.
in that there's a lot more nuance than presented in those situations. Um, like I wasn't even thinking that you with I think it's utilitarianism resulting in the greatest good. Um, there's a lot of factors there, like the greatest good would be doing like not buying flowers from a flower shop because there was like unethical means in which they were produced that you wouldn't have known about.
Mhm.
Um, and those are a lot of thoughts I never had when like debating these ethical things, like all of these very like particular scenarios. Um, but I think that uh, morally, the best things to do would be the ones that in your life create the most good and the most happiness. So I guess utilitarian in a way,
Okay.
not to a literal extent to where it branches off into like global like unknowns. But I think the best decisions you can make are that of making others happy making the people around you happier than before they met you, and trying to make the world a semi better place
Yeah,
in the grand scheme of things.
last night I find myself a lot in your ideas. I'm glad.
I think that a life well lived is one that makes the world slightly better than it was left.
Yeah,
Making others around you happy and making a little bit of a difference. And I hope my games are doing something to that degree. I know apparently people are getting a lot out of the games I make, and I love making them, so it's a good give and take.
yeah. Well, your choice about the last question it will be interesting too.
Oh, the last question is Matthew. Spoiler alert, everybody!
Yeah.
Matthew's dead. What is Matthew a good person? I don't know, because it's weird, right, coming from the writer's perspective, because when I was writing this, I wrote things with a bit of an intent of being vague. So it's not like I had a true answer in my head and could like project that. I had both answers in my head. And I was like, both of these can be correct. I want to
Mm.
see how you interpret this. So I think the real question comes down to intent. I think intent is a big aspect of it, and what Matthew's intent was with all of this, whether he's a good person or not. Did he just want to stay alive, or did he like actually want to protect this kid? Like what was his main motive?
Okay.
Um, and I don't have an answer for that. I wrote it specifically to be either, and because of that, I don't have like the correct answer in my head. I think an outside player will come to their own conclusions based on their own history and their own life, but I can't do that because I that's how I wrote it. I wrote it to be either.
Yeah.
So both are true in my head.
Okay. Yeah, I find it very hard, and it took me like 10 minutes to find the answer. I was like,
What
I
what
don't
did you
know.
decide?
I decided of no, but it wasn't about. I didn't thought about it like you said. I was thinking about the consequences of what he did,
Yeah.
and I found it like a bit overwhelmed by his actions, and so it went like worse and worse again. And I found that uh, no was a bit violent, but yes wasn't fair, and so it was hard, but I choose no.
So you said no.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. There it's been pretty 50-50, which I'm glad to see. I'm very happy to see the answers have been a bit mixed on that, just because I wanted to make something that was a little hard to answer. And the fact that it is pretty split down the middle, I think shows that I did that.
so you've got the statistics, or did you from the answers you've got? How do you know it's 50-50?
Just observing. I don't have any like stats to back that up, but just like watching let's plays and like seeing like
Okay.
streamers and stuff play, like it's always been pretty split.
Okay.
And I've seen like roughly an even amount of people answer both things. And I from the let's plays I watch, they'll sit there for like 2 minutes
Yeah.
and
Okay.
and like talk to the people watching the streams, or like just sit there by themselves thinking about it.
Okay. So I've got
Which
I've got the second question. Yeah.
oh yeah.
What were you about to say?
I was just gonna say that's like what I wanted to do. I wanted to have people sit there and think about it. I wanted to make a hard decision. And I'm
Yeah.
very glad that I was able to achieve that to some degree.
Yeah, that's a hard question because there's two choices and
Yeah.
no alternatives. And well, the other questions were like the same, to be honest. It was hard to answer too. So
I
it's yeah.
I struggle inserting myself into those questions only because again, I don't have an answer, and I know there's more nuance to it. So I stump myself with them.
Okay. So the second question was, can you be held accountable for your actions if you don't know what could the consequences be of your action? Would you be held responsible? If I'm not wrong, just correct me. If,
Yeah, no, that's correct. And I will be clear answering these that all of these are very situational.
Yeah.
like the answer to a given question like this. So whatever I say should be taken with a grain of salt. It's just like a umbrella belief. Um, I think if you do something without knowing the consequences, um, I think there is some responsibility to be held
Yeah.
in that situation. That being said, it is very situational, and that this cannot apply to like particular situations here and there. But as an umbrella, if we're getting into like very broad ideology, then I think there's some accountability that should be held, because if not you, then who?
Mm.
It's an accident. It's like a mistake. That's what that relates to. And I think if you make a mistake, you should own up to it and like, try to mend things, try to make better.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
Um,
the same opinion.
and again, multiple clarifying, situational,
Yeah.
incredibly situational, and all the
Exactly.
questions are incredibly situational. So if anyone's listening to this, watching this, I don't know, is there a video aspect to this? Is this on
Yeah.
like YouTube?
On YouTube, I'm
Yeah.
putting the video. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if anyone's watching this, these are not my firm stances. I'm a three-dimensional character.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny because on a previous live stream, well, I've got a debate with my viewers, and I had the same opinion as you, and they were trying to find an example that would make me change my mind. And so, as you said, that's situational.
Yeah, there's an example from each side that'll make me change my mind. I'll flip on a dime if you give me the right situation. But I
Yeah.
again, generally, I think accountability.
Yeah. Okay.
What was the third question? There's three.
Um. Well. Um.
You know my game better than I do at this point.
Were there a reason for 8 trials, or is it just a number that matched the story?
Honestly, it seemed like a good number when I decided on 8 when I started the game. And I don't know why particularly 8. I just think in my head it seemed like one, the amount that I could be able to do reasonably, and like an amount that I could also use to tell a coherent story. Um, that was, I think, the main decision behind that. Plus, it looked good in the hallway, so I wanted an even number
Yeah.
just to look good on both sides. And I guess technically 9 if you count the last door.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
that last door, by the way, that was like one of the first things I'd come up with, was what was going to be on the end.
Hmm.
I wanted that phone. So, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah. Your sound got cut off for a few
Yeah,
seconds.
no, it said my microphone did a weird thing.
Okay.
I just got a notification that it did something weird. We're good though?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I knew I wanted to do the hallway, and I knew I wanted what I wanted at the end of the hallway. And everything else just kind of came as I was writing. I remember calling my dad, freaking out because I couldn't think of what to do for room 6.
Uh,
It's like, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not going to be able to make this game. And I freak out a lot about that kind of stuff. I go into panic mode, and I'm like, it's never going to get made, and it's going to be awful, and I can't figure it out. And then I take a day, and then I'm fine. I go into like the nuclear options.
yeah. And so is the hallway some metaphor of death? Because as you know, some people are saying that some people that died like for a few seconds when their heart stopped to beat. Does it work?
I mean, the whole hallway being a metaphor for death. I mean, the whole game is literally death.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a ton of metaphor there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, right.
I mean, if you take a metaphor from that, go for it. Like, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. That's
Yeah.
your interpretation of the game. I don't think I had that intention. I mean, again, the hallway is literally death, and that's not like being hidden. Like you are dead, and this hallway is kind of a way to branch into your memories.
Hmm.
The hallway itself is more like a purgatory, if anything,
Yeah.
because it's as you go through this hallway, you're having your fate decided.
Mhm.
And basically everything up until the end is purgatory.
Right.
So I guess, is it a metaphor for death? It depends on what you want to call a metaphor, because it literally is said to be death.
Yeah. Okay.
um, but beyond that, I don't think there's much symbolism other than it was a good system to hub the levels together.
Okay. Yeah. That was pretty creative. I found it cool. Well, maybe that exists on other games, but that was the first time I was seeing this, and I found it pretty cool.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I do appreciate that you got so much from the game. Like, that means a lot to hear, and I don't understand every time. It doesn't register with me how much.
Well, your microphone stopped, so I get the third question. Is it's like by nature, are we selfless or selfish?
I think people are selfish by nature.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think that people have their motives at heart first. I mean, that's survival. That's like evolutionary survival. It's like
Mm.
I need this, and this to survive. And that is inherently selfish. Like, when I say selfish, I will be clear. I don't try to carry a negative connotation,
Mhm.
because I know the word selfish can be perceived as negative. I think it's more just thinking of oneself, um, before you think of others. And I think situationally, again, selfishness is not the wrong decision. Um, but yeah, I think people are inherently selfish, because they want to look out for themselves and they want to make sure that they are taken care of before they branch out to help others. And that's not to say that people are always selfish. I just think that people are going to take care of themselves as a priority,
Yeah.
even if that's a means to help others.
Mm. Okay, got the same answer. Um, yeah. Um, Another thing I found interesting in your game is, well, sometimes I play games. I love story-rich games, and
Yeah.
sometimes I play games that could literally be a movie or so because it's like a hallway game. Well, it's not a joke from the type of game that is well, Summerland, where there's a hallway in it, but it's like there's a starting point, an ending point,
Yeah.
and well, being a movie or a video game doesn't change much. But here, the choices, the questions are making like the player as a real actor of it, and well, I found the use of the video game format pretty relevant in this case because it's the whole sense of the game is your interpretation and the questions and your morality. And so playing it instead of watching it makes you more of an actor by yourself of the story. And
Yeah.
so your opinion is more um, deep and you're more engaged in this. So yeah, that's just it. I just found it cool.
No, I thought the game medium was a good choice for this one, just because I do want the player to like take away for themselves, and putting yourself in the shoes of this character um, helps you, I guess, think about these philosophical questions in terms of yourself. And I might just be making this all up. This might not be how psychology works at all. But I think that making it a game lended itself to being more introspective.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry. I just write on things like
No, yeah, I got you.
yeah. Okay. And well, something that happened to me when I finished Summerland. Well, first, I tried both endings, like choosing yes and no,
Yeah,
and both choices led to the same ending. Is it a choice, or is it a choice from you?
I deliberately wanted to do that, and
Okay.
I knew it was going to be like a controversial decision.
Hmm.
People like having their multiple endings, but it was a deliberate choice to do that because I wanted to make sure it was known that there wasn't like a good or bad option. This is all so subjective, that there's no way. I feel like, I mean, there probably is a way. I just, in my current knowledge of writing, I couldn't find a feasible way to convey that there is no correct answer here other than just showing you the same thing twice. Because depending on the player's own views of that situation, the ending has a totally different meaning.
Yeah.
I was directing Ryan, who voices the phone guy, to be very vague in terms of
Vague?
connotation.
What does it mean?
Like I wanted the guy on the phone, the voice actor.
Yeah.
When I was working the lines with them, I wanted to say, like, don't make this sound like either negative or positive,
Okay.
because I want the player to play that and could be able to interpret what the phone guy says as you made the right choice or you made the wrong choice.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think it'll have a different meaning to every player who witnesses the story, takes away their own ideologies and own moral stances. And in that sense, there kind of are multiple endings because it's like how you view it. But yeah, I thought one ending was the best way to achieve that. And if it's not, again, I will totally accept that. I am not a professional writer. I never have been and never claim to be.
Hmm. Well, when I reached the end, I was literally saying, "Well, I would be disappointed if both ending are the same, but I would understand." And so
Yeah.
now I understand even better. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you took it away and that you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
That was a big concern though, that people were not going to be happy that I didn't include like multiple endings, and especially with choice. But the choices were more meant to just get the player to think about these things rather than actually affect the story. It was more just like to implant those in the player's brain. They're like, hey, these are concepts, and I'm going to make you think about your stance on this subject. Okay, now play the game that you have your stances figured out. That was more the goal. And
Yeah.
if that didn't come across, then that's on me.
And well, it worked because I was planning to play another game right after this one, and I said, well, I'm just gonna end the live stream right here and think about this game and digest the ending, and
I do appreciate that. I'm glad that you got so much from it.
yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it was really interesting, to be honest.
I really hope you like the stuff I have coming up. It's definitely a different spin on things.
Okay.
One thing will be announced very soon, and I won't say anything now, because it is going to be part of something bigger.
Okay, no problem.
But I am working on something now that is a very different direction from anything I've done so far, and I think it's going to work. I'm hoping. Again, it's going to be a little scarier. I'm going more horror.
Okay, this is gonna be hard for me, but yeah, I'm
I
gonna try.
apologize. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'm so sorry.
Well, sometimes it leads to good discovery because, well, it was really hard for me to play Bioshock, and I really loved
I love
this game.
Bioshock.
Yeah, I loved it, and well, it was hard to play, but it was worth it, like for real.
Bioshock is like an all-time favorite for me.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
and well, I've seen on your store page that, if I'm not wrong, one of the last updates you made was about, if I'm not wrong, you were saying that you were receiving like bad comments or threats, and so you were sad about it, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
No, that's correct.
do you want to talk about
I
it?
decided to take myself away from the game.
Okay.
Just because I think that, I was a kid, or at least this game for free that I did because I liked making it, and I wasn't trying to make any big stances on anything. I wasn't trying to like change anyone's mind on ethics. I just thought it was fun to make this game.
Yeah.
And people got hateful. People were like dragging this 18-year-old kid like
Mm,
through the dirt because they didn't like the game he made. And like that's not okay to me. Like you
yeah.
should be able to have your opinion. You should have your thoughts, but the moment you're like harassing a kid online
Hmm.
because
Well,
they made something that they liked making,
yeah. Even not a kid, that's not cool though. Kid or
yeah, like
not, like
it's weird. It's not like why would you want to do that? What like it wills some people to like think that's what they want to do.
yeah. And so, how old are you right now?
What was that?
How old are you
Oh,
right now?
I'm 20.
20. Okay.
Can you believe Summerland is over a year old now?
Yeah.
It is over a year old. It came out end of last year, or I guess end of 2 years ago,
Okay.
December 2nd.
Okay. So, well, you've created FYRE Games, your studio, and well, yeah. Is it studio? Is it the right
Yeah,
word?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is just me when it comes down to it. But I like having that studio name. It gives like an air of professionalism.
Yeah. And so you've created it like when you were 13, or
Uh, I'm sorry. What was that? 30.
yeah,
I,
13.
I oh I'm sorry. I don't know if I totally understand the question.
Well, how old were you when you created the studio? Because if you
Oh, when I
created
created the
when you,
studio, I was
yeah,
yeah, I was about like 10
okay,
when I started doing FYRE Games. I drew the logo in MS Paint,
okay,
and it's a name that means a lot. It has like actual. It's an anagram. FYRE is an anagram
yeah,
for Fairmont Youth Reinventing Entertainment. Um, because that's where I'm from. I'm from Fairmont, West Virginia. It's a small place. It is not like it's a West Virginia town. But I wanted to make that name just because I never wanted to forget that. And I never wanted to forget like the little 10-year-old kid who really wanted to make games,
hmm,
and really wanted to like just put everything I could out there. Um, and I have moved a lot beyond that. I've moved into a place where I have a following and I have people watching what I do. But I want to have that FYRE name to remember that I where I came from and that passion I had for making games before. And it hasn't gone away. I still adore doing it. Again, I have the editor for my next project open right now.
yeah,
um, and I've been working endlessly on it. But yeah, I want to always remember that. So when I was young, I made the name, I made the logo, and I have not changed it since.
okay. Do you have plan of making games with like other people with like well games with other studios and a bigger team?
I would love to expand my team, and as a career, working with for another studio is not the worst idea. Only just because it's a way I can do what I like and make good money. Um, but like at its core, I view video games as more of like my art.
Okay.
It's like an author has books, or like a musician makes an album. Like I make games. It's how I tell my stories, and it's how I put out these ideas. And if I'm doing it for someone else, then that I lose my creative control.
Hmm.
And I like being able to make these games what I want them to be, and to write them, and to I like them being my games. It's my art. It's like if you're an author and you like co-author a book with someone, like
Hmm.
that's cool, and that gives a lot of other ideas, but you lose some bit of what you wanted to convey in that. And I'm totally open with working with more people. I'm totally open with having a bigger group and branching out to like co-creation. But for right now, I'm really enjoying just like making what I like to make and not
Yeah.
having to worry about like other people interfering with that. It's freeing.
Okay. And well, you've worked with other people already because the voice actors, as you said. How did you met them? Are you friend with them?
TikTok,
Okay.
TikTok. I had a lot of eyes on me from TikTok because I put out an open casting call, probably got about 5,000 auditions.
Wow.
Just because I was on TikTok and I was like, hey, I'm making a game. Here's some screenshots to prove that I'm making a game. If you want to be in it, just go to this website and audition. And it was open for literally anyone to audition.
Okay.
I got some big names. I got someone that was in. I wouldn't be able to tell you his name, and I feel bad about that. He was in Skyrim, I believe.
Okay.
I got some legit voice actors in there. But I'm very happy with the group I picked. The guy who does Matthew, to my knowledge, has never done a game before.
Okay.
He does audiobooks. That's like his primary thing.
Okay.
He's also British.
Yeah.
which is funny to think back on. Matthew is a British actor, does not sound it at all.
Yeah.
He did a phenomenal job conveying the voice I wanted. Other than that, the actress for Evelyn is in what game? I think Smite. I think she was in the game Smite as one of like the characters. And then the guy who does Charlie, I'm not super familiar with his past work, but I do know he has like a viral TikTok meme now. Are you on TikTok often?
Not at all.
There's a meme of you ever seen Spider-Man Into the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
You know Kingpin? There's a meme now of
Okay.
Kingpin. He's like, it's not about the money, Spider-Man. It's like, it's about the Mets. Go Mets, baby. It's about the Mets. Yeah.
Okay.
That's gone really big on TikTok, and that is the actor that voices Charlie.
Okay.
Has started that meme,
All right.
which is a claim to fame I did not know that the game would have. But
Mm.
and then Ryan Beard, they were well established before we got in contact. They were on TikTok, a few million followers.
Okay.
They were on America's Got Talent at one point. I was doing like comedy music. It was very funny. If you want to look up Ryan Beard on America's Got Talent, like on YouTube or something.
Okay.
But yeah, I got in touch with them through TikTok, and it's the best thing to ever happen to me because that got me that publicity and that got more eyes on me, and people played Summerland
Yeah.
because of TikTok. It's crazy, man. It's wild. I have almost 250,000 followers now on TikTok just because of this.
Well.
Like I could not have imagined that like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah.
It's crazy to think about. I was nobody. I was absolutely nobody when I released Welcome to Dreamscape. It got like 50 downloads when it came out, if even.
Well, that's a start.
And then Summerland is at about 150,000. Not 150,000. Yeah, maybe. I think it's 150,000 downloads.
Oh, that's nice.
I'll have to double check that number. Don't quote me on that. I could be way off.
Well, that
But
doesn't
like,
sound not well.
Summerland did really well.
Yeah. Well, it gets on Steam. It got 100. 1,030. 100. Oh, my English is terrible.
No, yeah, it got about 1,300
Yeah.
reviews, and most of them are very positive. And I was taken back by it. I was like so thrilled that people were enjoying this game I made.
Yeah. You were not ready for this.
I wasn't because I never made something that got this much publicity before. And now I get invited onto these podcasts, and I am like reached out to by other developers and people saying that like they look up to me now, and that's insane. It's crazy coming from where I did to here, and it's still getting bigger. I'm still growing.
Yeah. Well,
It's
that's nice.
wild. It's wild. Whew.
And so, did your experience of working with voice actors went well? Was it hard or?
No, it was incredibly easy. They every voice actor did a phenomenal job. Most of the lines you hear are first takes.
Okay.
Most of the lines you hear are the first things that were sent to me. I don't know if that was their first take,
Yeah.
um, but what they sent to me is pretty much what's in there. And aside from like a few little lines here and there, like it's mostly all it is.
Okay.
They hit it right on the head first time around, which is so impressive.
Nice. Well, that's good.
They are phenomenal.
Okay. Well, did you work with anyone else except from voice actors?
A little bit. It was primarily a solo project, but I mean, if you look at the credits, there are a few people
Yeah.
in there. There was some help with writing a little bit. There was
Okay.
a little oh, what was I about to say? There's a lot of consultation and like going over the script and stuff. And then like, I use assets for models a lot because I'm not a 3D modeler and I'm not good at that.
Okay.
And I don't have the funds to hire a 3D modeler.
Yeah.
I use a few assets here and there, but I don't see anything wrong with that as long as you're not like copy and pasting a level
Mm.
verbatim, which is when games get into asset flip territory, which is something I am not a fan of, and I don't like when studios make games purely from assets. But um, yeah, other than that, it was really a solo endeavor.
Okay. And so by now, do you leave from your video games and musics, or are you doing something else on the other side?
Oh, I'm always doing something else. I'm never
Okay.
going to not be doing something else.
Yeah.
I'm working on games right now.
Yeah.
I'm working on games right now. I'm working on music right now, and that's just like it's part of me. And I don't think I would be doing anything else if I weren't making games and making music.
Yeah.
It,
But
it's it's like an impulse.
yeah, but like, do you get enough earning to live from it?
I'm in college right now. I'm
Yeah.
I'm in
Okay.
college. I'm not like in a position currently where I need to be financially independent entirely because I have
Okay.
college fund and I have like my parents still support me and I have money through like university and I just I want to do what I'm doing as long as I can
Hmm.
independently. If I do not need to be making a lot of money, then I will keep doing what I'm doing. The moment that I have to start making money, then there's some decisions that need to be made. Um, but until then, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing now with games and music. Hopefully, it takes off in a way that I can support myself into the future. If not, it's just how it goes sometimes. But I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I feel hopeful.
Okay. And so, what do you study in college?
Computer science.
Okay.
I'm majoring in computer science, hopefully to pursue games as a career.
Yeah.
Um, I just love it. I love it. It's a great time making games.
Yeah. And so, your last project, the Colossus is coming, was linked to your last album. And do you
Yes,
plan to do this by the future?
like game albums,
Yeah.
sort of. I don't know. It was because I just came up with the idea randomly. I think if I do it too much, it becomes a gimmick.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't want that to be like a gimmick for my games. Like, oh, look, I made another
Hmm.
game for my album. Like, I think it's a very one time works. If I do it more than that, it becomes a thing, and I don't want it to be a thing. I'm not saying I'm beyond incorporating stuff for future albums, maybe making like visual art type things or just like less narrative game experiences. But like what I did, I think I'm happy with that, and I want to leave it. Um, and in the future, if I decide to do something, I'll do it. But I'm not like set to do more game albums.
Okay. And did it work well? Like, did your
Oh
album
yeah,
got
no,
some?
Colossus did really well, and it actually got me in touch with a lot of cool people,
Okay.
um, and really opened up opportunities for me in terms of making games because people like horror. People like horror content, and Colossus is coming is definitely scarier than anything I've done.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to go deeper into horror games because I do enjoy horror games. They're one of my favorites in
Okay.
terms of genre.
Okay. And
Um,
one
Yeah,
question I
that's
had is it the same making music from for games or music not from game for games? Like, do you get my points?
I'm not sure if I follow. What are you referencing?
Well, is it the same process making game musics or making musics like that are
It's
made
it's
to?
definitely a bit different. It's a bit different. Well, I don't know because I think it all boils down to I start with like aesthetics.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
I'm a big visual guy. I like cool visuals. I like good art style. I like making the game look nice. Um, and I think that aesthetics are a big part of that. So I think of what I want this to sound like slash look like slash play like and like what general vibe I'm going for. And that's kind of universal for both. And then it goes, yeah, I mean, I guess the process is pretty similar. Because it's like figuring out what I want this to feel like, figuring out how I want to convey that, coming up with like a story, producing it, and then releasing it. So yeah, it is very similar actually. I never really thought about it as being that similar, but yeah,
Okay.
as an interesting way to think about it.
Okay, yeah, well, I don't do any music, so I don't know anything about it, but I was curious.
It is a new way of thinking about that for me.
Okay, well, glad I led you to this.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I never thought about it that way. It's interesting. Um, the processes are similar. That was not the answer I planned to give.
And did you add any inspirations for making Summerland or other games?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, you make anything, you have inspirations.
yeah,
A lot of walking simulator games that I adore, like Firewatch, What Remains of Edith
yeah,
Finch, Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Virginia. Virginia is a big one for me, mostly in terms of style, because I love what it did with editing and color and presentation. Virginia is awesome to me for those reasons, even if people weren't the biggest fan of it on release. Um, that I feel like yeah, I mean, it was primarily just inspiration from those walking simulators. Everybody's gone to the Rapture, of course, and I want to branch off more into again horror and maybe possibly more gameplay in the future to make my games a little more gamey. But yeah, that's really all is those walking simulators.
okay, okay. So I've got other questions from the people I told that I would interview you. So, um, from the music, the question I had is, how do you bring the ambience, the mood of the music, so that it sticks with the message you want to share in your game? Or
I don't know if there's a set formula to it. I kind of just hear it. It's
okay,
I don't have a very good answer for this because it's natural. I just think like, oh, this would sound cool, and then I play it. Um, I don't have like a method for knowing what's going to work in what scene. I kind of just go in blind, and I think I'm like, yeah, I think this will work. And I recreate what I hear in my head at the given point. Like I'm working with a lot of like 80s dark wave at the moment for the future, which I am very excited to showcase. There's going to I will clarify as of talking to you, there's going to be an announcement very soon, and I will message you when that happens. It's definitely more of a collaborative type project, like we talked about. I'm still in full control, but yeah, I can't say too much. I'm figuring out ways to like get around it.
okay, and on on the Colossus, there's, if I'm not wrong, it doesn't have any name. Is it chosen so that it's less human, or is there any
The
reason?
Colossus itself,
Yeah.
it's done that way, in my opinion, to make it what the player thinks it is.
Okay.
It's like you know if you don't know what something is, it's scarier.
Yeah.
Um, and also, the Colossus is a metaphor. For what that metaphor is, I'll let you decide. I have my personal thoughts on what the Colossus is. But the Colossus can be different for anyone. It's just the Colossus is this imposing thing over you. And what that is for you is not going to be the same as what it is for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's all. I think the Colossus is a vague being by design,
Okay. Well, I feel like your games have a lot of interpretation from the player, and
and
that's
that's my end goal. I want the player to be thinking about those things after, before and after playing.
yeah. Okay.
I hope I've achieved that
Yeah.
to a decent degree.
Yeah. I do think so. Yeah. Um.
Um, I'm so excited to show off what I'm working on now. I've been working so hard and I have so much done in such a short period.
He looks so
Jeez.
passionate. Like that's so nice to see.
It'll happen. It'll come out and then it'll be set.
Can't wait. Um.
I'll message you whenever something comes out about it because it should be very soon.
Okay.
It's a little out of my hands. There are a few aspects here that are not my doing.
Okay. Um. Well, I've listened to all of your songs, and well, I was on the train. I didn't have much time to prepare all this, but I found it pretty nice. I don't have much comment
I'm
on
glad
it.
you like.
Would you talk about music creation or something?
So like making. What do you want to know?
Well, I don't know. Well, the thing is, I didn't took as many time as I would have liked to listen to your songs. Well, yesterday the choice was pretty much playing Dreamscape or listening to your songs once more. Maybe I made the wrong choice. I don't know, but so I don't have prepared any
Um,
question on it.
no, it's fine. The music, it's very. I like my more abstract ideas to be conveyed in music because it's harder to convey abstract things in games, and I think it's cheaper to convey more literal things in music.
Hmm.
So I like being a bit more vague, a bit more like it's what you think it is when it comes to making music as opposed to games. With that said, I think there is spillover in the like the messaging of each. I think that the games do a better job at like getting more personal. I think that the music is better at like relating to something. Like, there's a lot of different reasons to make an album as opposed to a game, but the album it really boils down to a sound first, like what I want it to sound like, and then I kind of come up with a story after that kind of fits that vibe and fits what I'm feeling at the time.
Since how many time do you make music? Is it for as long as video games?
About I think I've been doing games a lot longer. If you count like my interests when I was like really young and such, music was a little later. I released my first EP in 2016, I think.
Okay.
But I was very interested in music before that. I was in school band. I was it was just something I always thought was kind of cool. And I never got into it as much as games until recently. I'm very happy I have. Because music I find to be very rewarding in a more immediate sense. Because games are hard to make. A song is not as hard to make as a full game. Uh,
Well, yeah.
and I find music to be a lot more immediately rewarding.
Okay.
But in the long term, a game is like the big thing I like doing.
Hmm. And both like work well together. Like putting a music on a game or
Yeah, no,
promoting it from a
I
game
like doing
is
soundtrack stuff. That stuff's fun. I
yeah.
I really do enjoy making like game soundtrack type music because ambience is a big thing for me too. I love
Yeah.
playing with ambience. Um, where's I going with this? Yeah, they go hand in hand, and it's very interesting to work in both mediums.
Well, in terms of music, do you do your own sound design or
I actually did have a bit of help with sound design from Nate Flax. If you're familiar at all with the pop group Sleeping Lion,
Okay.
He's one of the members of that band. He reached out to me and was very gracious in helping with sound design. He did a lot for the game that I would not have been able to do without him. And he also was on the album. He did piano for some of the album I released recently.
Okay.
We've had a very good working relationship since we met. We met on a podcast. He invited me to be on his podcast.
Okay. Okay, nice. And which instruments do you play?
For the albums, most of them, I do like guitar, bass,
Mhm.
drum machines when I'm able. I don't play the drums themselves, so I have a drummer. I do the vocals, I do the synthesizers, most everything. There are a few instruments I just cannot play, like saxophone. I can't play saxophone.
Okay.
Piano, and then like odd instruments, like real niche stuff I don't do, and then drums. But other than that, I'm pretty self-sufficient, which I'm very happy for. I'm glad that I can like get by without needing too much help from others.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
that's
keeping it to myself as best I can.
yeah, that's rewarding as well.
Uh-huh. No, it definitely is.
Okay. Well, so as I said, I don't have many questions about music. If you want to express yourself about music creation or even game creation, if you have any idea of subject that you would talk about.
I don't know. I think that I would love for more people to get into making games
Yeah.
because I think it's a lot easier to do than people realize. Like it's not incredibly difficult to make a game.
Okay.
I think it's scary. It seems scarier than it is. It's not. It is really not that bad to make a game. I 100% promise. I think more people would be doing it if they knew how not difficult it was. If that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
it seems intimidating, doesn't it?
Yeah. That. Yeah.
Like it seems like it's something that's incredibly hard to do. When really, like anyone can do it. It's just a matter of going out there and finding the resources. It's looking online. I taught myself how to make them.
Hmm.
Like anyone can make a game. So yeah, I think that in terms of game creation, talking about game creation, I want more people to do it
Yeah.
because I think
Okay.
it's more realistic than people realize. I
Hmm.
encourage anyone listening now, if you have any interest in making games, go to Unity and just research it and find some make an awful game, make a terrible game, please, because if you make an awful game, that means you made a game.
Yeah.
Making a bad game is better than making no game, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So please create. Everyone go out there and create.
So you've only tried Unity as a.
I've looked into Unreal, and I was not as big of a fan of Unreal. I think Unity offers a lot more in terms of just versatility and different things you could do, and more resources and a better community. So I've just stuck with that. I debate moving to something else, but Unity has been so good to me that I don't see a reason to at the moment. I can get a lot done with Unity. It's
Okay.
very useful. It's a very useful tool.
Okay. Is it free?
Yeah, Unity is totally free.
Okay.
Unless you get like the pro membership, which is important if you want to make like a bunch of money off your games, because that's like licensing. But like as it is, Unity is totally free, and that's amazing because it allows so many people to get into this hobby that they normally wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I think that's very important, is accessibility.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of games developed with Unity, and so now I understand why. Yeah.
Unity has a bad reputation, which I'm a little upset about because it's so available, and because it's so available, a lot of bad games are made with it.
Hmm.
And they do this thing, which I don't understand. If you don't pay for the pro membership, they make you show the Unity logo. But because of that, only the cheaply made games show the Unity logo.
Okay. Yeah.
So the all of the like people making their first game and releasing it onto the store, those use the Unity logo. When the big games that you'd have no idea use Unity don't have the logo on it.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Firewatch. Have you played Firewatch?
Yeah.
That's Unity.
Okay.
Firewatch is a Unity game, and you wouldn't know it
Mm.
because it looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks phenomenal.
That's
I,
right.
I I I like pushing Unity to its limits,
Mm.
figuring out what I can and can't do with it.
Yeah. Well, I love the visual of the last scene of Summerland, like the white scene.
Yeah, that was the first thought I had, and I just ran with it. It
Okay.
was I just thought there's I feel like people think I have way more meaning in the stuff I do than I actually do. My thought behind that was it looked cool.
Yeah.
That's my reasoning behind a lot of stuff. Is it looks cool and it's nice. I liked it.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
reasoning behind a lot of the stuff I do. I feel like people read a lot into what I make when they shouldn't.
Okay.
A lot of my reasoning is because I like it,
Well, that's a good
because
reason then.
because I thought it would be fun.
Okay. Yeah.
There's no deep meaning,
Well, it looks good, so it worked.
and I appreciate that you think so. It does mean a lot knowing that people are enjoying and liking what I do and getting something out of it that I am not. They're getting more out of it than I am, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay. And so about music creation, do you have the same message?
What was that?
About music creation, do you have the same message like try and
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. It sounds blunt, but if you feel like you can't do it, then you can. The resources are all there. They're so easy to come across. I do everything so do it yourself. And that's just because it's so accessible. It's so easy to make stuff now.
yeah.
And if people aren't, it's just because they haven't found the resources that are available.
Yeah.
Like you can find these things. They're easy to get to.
Okay, yeah.
Everyone should be making games. That's the takeaway. Everyone should be making games.
Yeah, okay. All right.
If you leave this podcast and go into Unity, I bet you could make a half okay game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll
I
put the link
encourage
in the
you.
description, like Unity website or so that anyone can try it easily with no excuses.
Yeah, no, it's super useful. It is super useful.
Yeah. And by the way, except from your inspirations, do you have any game recommendations?
If you like Summerland, I'd say check out anything I said was an inspiration, like
Yeah.
some like Firewatch, What Remains of Edith Finch. Those are my two favorites. Other than that, like Virginia, Vanishing of Ethan Carter,
Yeah.
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, Gone Home.
Okay.
Check out those things because I feel like the walking simulator genre does not get as much love as it deserves. It gets a lot more hate than it deserves, for sure.
Hmm.
So please give those a look because they're phenomenal projects.
Yeah.
Phenomenal projects, phenomenal products.
Yeah, some of them are on my list of games that I might play on the live stream. So, yeah. Not all of them, but I'm gonna check the others. Definitely.
What Remains of Edith Finch is a really good one.
Yeah.
If you want one, and it's always on sale.
Well, yeah, and it's been free for some week, if I'm not wrong, on Epic Games. So I've got it
It hasn't
from
been.
there, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, no, Edith Finch is phenomenal. It might be one of my favorites, just period.
Okay.
So that is a strong recommendation.
All right. I'm gonna try it.
And then Firewatch, of course. But you said you've played that one,
Yeah. It was nice.
so I won't be redundant.
Okay. And in terms of musics, do you have any inspirations?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you have any inspirations from music groups or?
Oh, 100%. I love groups like Radiohead, Bjork, all of these like experimental rock / pop groups. Black Midi, Black Country New Road. I like Muse a lot. Muse is the most experimental there is, but I do enjoy a good Muse song.
Yeah, those groups you
Who
were talking
else?
about on, like, I don't remember if it was on your website. Maybe you said like if you like Radiohead and Björk, just go check my
Oh yeah,
music.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not wrong.
um, like Gorillas, the Drones. I love the Drones.
Okay. Yeah, well, I haven't even heard about, well, listen to any of these groups. I've heard about a few of them. So I'm gonna give it a try.
The Drones are like an Australian rock band, since disbanded, but they're definitely a favorite of mine. If
Okay,
you ever have the opportunity, it's well worth.
all right. Okay. Well, think I don't have any question left. So if you wanna share another message or anything.
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm very thankful for all of you that are out there, and very thankful for all of you that have stuck around with me and encouraged me to keep making the things I'm making. There is more coming, and I'm very excited to be able to showcase some of that. But until then, follow my social medias, keep up to date on what I'm doing, and I hope to see you whenever something else is made,
Yeah.
whenever that may be.
Yeah, and yeah, one last question. All your games are free for now,
Yes.
and you've made the musics of Summerland. So if anyone wants to support you, they can buy the musics. That's what I've
Yeah.
done, that by the way. And
Yeah. Buy the music for Summerland. Buy my personal music.
yeah, is it
Anything
something
like that helps.
you plan to do by the future? Like continue to make free games and a way to support you if they enjoyed the games, because the accessibility behind free games is like huge, and that's why I've discovered you.
I would like to. Realistically, I may have to end up charging at some point,
Yeah.
which is
Okay.
not ideal. It's not what I want to do.
Hmm.
But if it comes to it,
Yeah. Okay.
that may be my only route.
Hmm.
But yeah, if I would love to keep games free as long as I can. And of course, if I start upping the production value, then there's some issues there. But at the moment, my stuff is free. I can't promise in the future, and I'm not going to make any promises.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm glad that people are able to play at the moment. I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're done. Is all good for you?
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Okay.
I appreciate you having me, really.
Well, I appreciate that you agreed to come on the podcast. Well,
Oh, of course.
especially in English, because well, I'm not excellent, and that was kind of hard sometimes for me. But well,
Your English was great.
okay, yeah, well, nice.
Your English was great, like throughout.
Thanks. And
You believe me, you were good.
thank you. Well, so yeah, because you were like maybe the second or first that I don't know personally, like in real life, to accept to come on my podcast. So I'm glad you accept too.
Yeah, no, of course. Why wouldn't I? I love coming on these things. They're fun.
Yeah. All right.
I'm a talker.
Yeah, well, thanks again, and thanks to everyone for listening. And just check out what Connor is doing on his social medias and his games, like all the one we've mentioned. And so, see you later, guys. Goodbye. Alright, guys, so thanks for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you did, you can like the video or give me 5 stars on your listening platform. It really means a lot to me and really help the podcast to grow. If you have any comment, just share your thought, and well, see you in the next episode. Bye.